Welcome to our PL Possibilities series. These videos have been created to assist teachers in improving their Canvas skills for the purposes of teaching and learning. This video is part of the Evidence of Learning playlist. An overview of the Evidence of Learning playlist is displayed on the screen. This video will focus on assignments and creating a space for students to submit the evidence of their learning. Assignments can be created in three ways. Through editing in the Rich Content Editor on a content page, you can create a new assignment from the links. You can also create an assignment from the Modules view and add that as a feature item within a module. The most common way to create an assignment is through the Assignments tab on the Course Navigation menu. From the Assignments view, you have the opportunity to group assignments in a number of ways. By adding plus group, you have the opportunity to name your groups by a unit, week, or whether or not it's a major or moderate assignment. In this example, I'm going to be adding my group and organising my groups by units. I'm going to indicate if it's a major or moderate assignment in the naming convention for my assignment. You can see now that I have a group of assignments around Unit 1. Just as in modules, I can add new assignments from adding this plus tab, and that will add the assignment to Unit 1. If I created an assignment here, I have to indicate at a later date what assignment group it should belong to. If I click on plus add assignment, when I add an assignment to Unit 1, I can decide what kind of an assignment it's going to be. I could make it a discussion, a quiz, an external tool if I'm using something like an Office 365 collaboration or an alternative learning package, but I could also call this as a not marked assignment. In this case, I'm going to make an assignment. The name I'm adding to my assignment is going to be Task 1 Minor. As I said previously, because I'm organising my assignments by unit topic, I'm going to include it if it's minor or major assignment work in the naming convention. At this stage, I could put a due date for when the assignment is due. It's important to have it as 0 points if you're using the DOE Markbook. And I'm going to hit Save. I've now created an assignment from within Unit 1. If I click on the link here, I now have the opportunity to edit my Task 1 Minor assignment. By clicking on the Edit page, I now have the name of my assignment, and I have a rich content editor where I can actually add content for my students to do. From the rich content editor, I can add the instructions for my students and how I want them to complete the task. In this case, it's going to be a worksheet that I'd like them to complete. So I'm adding some instructions to complete the worksheet below, and because I've already uploaded the worksheet into my file view, I'm going to click on the Files tab. Because I've created an assignments folder to show that where the work is actually going to be stored for assignments, I'm going to click on Assignments, and I'm going to add this Platinum version of the PDF. Because I don't like the idea that it has .pdf in the bottom inside it, I can actually alter this link by just deleting that. It still maintains the link to the document that I want students to access. When we go into the settings for our assignment, I need to make sure that it is 0 points. Because I'm planning on using the DOE Markbook to enable students to be assessed against criteria. I'm going to make sure that it's a Unit 1 assignment group. If I'd gotten this wrong, I can click on the drop-down box and create a new group from this menu. But in this case, I'm going to maintain it as Unit 1. I'd like to mark it as complete or incomplete because I would like to actually make sure that students have completed the work, and I don't necessarily want to give them a number score, a GPA, or a grade letter score because I'd like to use a rubric to give them some feedback. I can also make sure that I don't count this mark towards the final mark. In our context, we don't use this very often. There are a number of submission types that you can access. I can do a no submission, so students might submit that work to me in a classroom. I might make it an online submission and provide them with some options to do that. I might also give them an on-paper submission where they might hand it to me in a classroom, but I also might use an external tool where they might submit it using an Office 365 environment. In this case, I'm going to choose an online. There are a number of online entry options, which will go into detail at a later date. In this case, I just want them to make a file upload. There are additional options you can do for an assignment. You can make it a group assignment so that students can work collaboratively on an item and get marked in the same way. You can also require peer reviews. This is quite useful if you're doing an essay style assignment or you'd like students to actually provide feedback on each other's work prior to the final submission. In terms of assigning it, you can assign it to everyone or to individual students within your class. If you don't want it to be everyone, you could also create a course section or to an individual student. You can set the due dates, so I might make that next week, and I can make it available from a certain time. So I might make it available from today, but I also might make it available for another week after the assignment is due for those students who may actually need to have a little bit more time. If I want to differentiate the timing of this assignment for different groups, so for example, some students might require more time, I can add additional available and due dates. I'm going to enable everyone within the Evidence of Learning group a little bit longer to complete this assignment. You'll notice that the moment I add an additional assign to function, this one here changes to everyone else. I'm going to allow the people in the Evidence of Learning group to have the assignment due on the 29th. In the Evidence of Learning group, I'm going to enable them to access the assignment from the 12th of May, but I'm also going to allow them until the 5th of June to enable them to have a little bit more time if they require it. At this point, I can save or I can save and publish. Because I want to create a rubric to go with this assignment at a later date, I'm going to click Save. Students will now be able to see the Please Complete the Worksheet below, and they'll be able to view the worksheet that's here. As you can see from this view, the assignment is not published. This means that students cannot access the work. Once I hit Publish, students will only be able to access the work from this date and until this date. Thank you for watching this PL Possibilities series video.